a new emotion! Wow!
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nearly 10 years after the original film, Pixar has delighted old and new fans with the news about Inside Out 2, the sequel to one of the most beloved animated films of the 2010s. Inside Out 2 will have plenty of love, laughter, and tears. The first film of the franchise made its audience question the validity of every emotion, no matter how sinister their intentions may seem. Through the eyes of Riley Anderson, the audience learns how to accept sadness and allow it to coexist alongside their other, equally complex emotions. Now, as Riley approaches her teenage years, the sequel will introduce 4 new emotions that will change Riley forever, spurring her toward the next stage of her life. In today's video, we'll discuss these emotions and their potential roles.
Our little girl's growing up so fast. Ow.
Sorry.
Number 1. Anxiety. Fans of Inside Out were surprised to learn that the first new emotion Riley will encounter is the embodiment of anxiety. As fear already operates as one of Riley's core emotions, it's safe to assume that anxiety is an amplified version of her fearful thoughts and will develop into a mental disorder. Unfortunately, Riley already has a history of struggling with mental health, as her willingness to run away from home and shut down emotionally resembles characteristics of depression. Many fans believe that the control panel failing and becoming unusable by the emotions was synonymous with the disorder. In the trailer for Inside Out 2, anxiety is the emotion responsible for tossing the Core 5 out of headquarters. While she tries to work alongside Joy and the others, she concludes they're not sophisticated enough to help Riley handle the new changes in her life. She believes the Core 5 should be repressed, leaving her more room to use the control panel. She also begins an operation to change Riley, likely to help her fit in with her new group of friends. From the few times they interact in the trailer, the other 3 emotions will allow anxiety to operate as their leader. From a narrative standpoint, anxiety becoming the new primary emotion for Riley makes sense. Sometimes anxiety can become so intense that it overpowers other feelings and rational thoughts. In the trailer, Riley claims she's the worst, struggling to get out of bed and pack for skills camp. Her anxious thoughts may be responsible for her claims, especially if she's starting to doubt her self-worth. While the sequel will likely follow the same themes as the first, indicating that all emotions, no matter how complicated, can coexist, anxiety will become the primary antagonist in the film. Anxiety may also encourage the return of Gloom, the unnamed and faceless antagonist from the first film. The writers planned for the Gloom to be another of Riley's emotions in the original concepts for the film. However, the writers settled on it being a shadowy and ominous presence instead. The Gloom grows alongside Riley's despair with the sole purpose of making her feel miserable. The most notable instance of the Gloom's appearance is when the control panel goes dark, preventing anger and the remaining emotions in headquarters from connecting with Riley.
Hello? I'm anxiety. Where can I put my stuff?
Number 2. Embarrassment. Embarrassment is never an easy emotion to contend with. The feeling can cause intense reactions, from angry outbursts to sad tears. And Riley will have many reasons to feel embarrassed during the sequel. Unfortunately, embarrassment can arise from the smallest of situations, as something as simple as someone's shoes becoming untied can feel embarrassing, depending on the person. However, the feeling is more intense when outside forces are making minuscule situations seem significant. Anxiety can cause this phenomenon and may intensify embarrassment's effects on Riley. In the trailer, we witness embarrassment impacting Riley early on. During a scene where she approaches Valentina, an upperclassman and fellow hockey player, Joy decides to use the control panel. Riley ends up offering a goofy greeting despite anxiety's disapproval, which impacts embarrassment. He hides his face in his hoodie and face plants into the control board, causing Riley to become visibly embarrassed by her actions. Embarrassment appears incredibly shy, meaning his influence on Riley may start as something subtle until growing into an overwhelming force. In a more literal and hands-on role, embarrassment is the muscle for the new emotions. When anxiety deems the Core 5 incapable of helping Riley, she sends them away from headquarters. Embarrassment is the one who scoops them up, likely forcing them into the jar shown in the next scene. He may follow anxiety without a second thought, fulfilling her every wish and helping keep the Core 5 from returning to headquarters. At the moment, he appears like the strongest emotion, but it's unclear if that has anything to do with his presence and influence in Riley's life. If so, he could cause Riley to become more shy and withdraw, forcing her to hide away from situations when she feels uncomfortable.
What's your name, big fella?
That's embarrassment.
Welcome to headquarters, embarrassment.
Number 3. Envy. Envy is an emotion that can sneak up on people. It is responsible for feelings of intense jealousy and desire. To feel envious of someone else is to want what they have, and is sometimes confused with admiration. Envy may spur Riley's desire to become friends with Valentina and join her friend group at Skills Camp. From the trailer, Envy has a keen eye for impressive things that don't belong to her. For example, from the moment she enters headquarters, she's drawn to Disgust's hair. In Riley's life, she may become envious of the popularity and admiration that Valentina receives from their peers. Valentina is described as someone everyone looks up to, Riley included, and it could result in some mimicking behaviors. To become more like the teenagers she looks up to, Riley may try dyeing her hair or trying out for a varsity hockey team. These things could end up helping Riley, however, by boosting her self-confidence or encouraging her to practice for her tryouts. Envy may also cause tension between Riley and her other friends. In the trailer, we see Riley turning away from two others to approach Valentina. These unknown characters may be fellow members of her hockey team, the Foghorns, who are attending skills camp with her. They seem hurt that she leaves them behind, which may become a primary conflict throughout the film. However, Riley's envy and desire to be like the older hockey players could cause her to lash out or momentarily abandon her old friends.
I'm Envy. Oh, look at your hair. Oh yeah, not happening.
Number 4. Ennui. Many forms of media portray teenagers as bored or disinterested in their day-to-day lives. However, teenagers tend to become more apathetic and unbothered by their past interests when their personal lives begin to impact their behaviors, moods, and thought processes. We know Riley, at 12 years old, developed an interest in vampire romances. However, the genre she enjoyed, be it books or movies, may become a thing of the past now that she's pursuing new friendships and a social life. Riley may become bored of her past, including the things she did with her old friends, how she passed the time with her parents, and what she did in her downtime. Ennui could help her through all of this, expressing disinterest in Riley's previous activities to help her find new and exciting things to get her through the day. Unfortunately, boredom can become an unwelcome cycle in anyone's life, and ennui must try and keep a delicate balance. If Riley becomes overly disinterested in her environment and the people around her, she may become unmotivated to try new things or pursue old activities she once enjoyed. It's common for teenagers to grow out of old hobbies and try new things, but in Riley's case, she has one activity that's remained near her heart for a decade. If ennui isn't careful, Riley may begin putting more effort into befriending Valentina and less into developing her hockey skills. Doing so could have consequences, as Riley will attend a skills camp during the sequel. It would be unfortunate if she had to leave early because she wasn't trying her best.
That's ennui.
On what?
It's what you would call the boredom.
The new emotions will cause quite a stir when they appear in Inside Out 2. Many things in Riley's life have changed already, and as she approaches high school, she'll have to face new challenges and expectations. Unfortunately, joy and sadness can only carry her so far when she finds herself in complicated and confusing situations. Sometimes being a teenager is hard, especially when emotions like anxiety, envy, embarrassment, and ennui start making every experience harder to bear. Fortunately, it's possible to grow and coexist with even the most dire of feelings, and luckily for Riley, she has some strong core emotions to depend on when the going gets tough.
Wait, Joy, you could get lost in there.
Think positive.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated on our uploads.
Oh, very smooth. That was just like Joy.
Something is definitely going on.
She's never acted like this before.